Constructed response, overview, and strategies. Today we will learn and understand the constructed response, scoring a constructed response, reading and writing strategies. The constructed response, let's break it down. What is a constructed response? What can I expect? What is a constructed response and what does it have to do with me? A constructed response is a type of open-ended essay question that demonstrates cognitive knowledge and reasoning. This type of assignment will ask you to apply your knowledge and understanding in a short written answer. You will have to complete several CR questions on the Keystone exams. To help you prepare for this type of writing assessment, we will have a CR every other week in the course. What can I expect in a constructed response? You'll get a text that you need to read. You'll have a prompt that will require you to analyze something about that text. And you'll have to fully answer the question, cite examples from the text, and explain how those citations support your answer. Finally, you'll wrap up your response with a brief summary or conclusion. The constructed response, scoring. Keystone grading rubric. Literary analysis and composition 2 rubric. The Keystone scoring description. So your Keystone constructed response questions are going to be scored either with a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3. 0 is the lowest score that you can receive, and a 3 is the highest. So you want to get a 3. This is a response that's a clear, complete, and accurate analysis of the question. The response includes relevant and specific information from the passage. Anytime that you deviate a little bit from having a clear, complete, and accurate analysis, then you start to lose points. So the next highest score you can get is a 2. This is when the response is only a partial analysis of the question. It includes limited information from the passage and may include inaccuracies. So maybe there's some misreading a little bit, something you didn't quite understand from the text. Maybe you didn't answer all parts of the prompt, or maybe you didn't use enough examples to support your answer. A 1 is when the response is a minimal analysis of the question, when it includes little or no information from the passage and may include inaccuracies, or the response relates minimally to the task. So you can wind up with a 1 if you don't answer the question. Like you could have, a page and a half written for the constructed response, but if you're not answering the prompt completely, you'll still get a 1. The same thing if you're not using examples. So you're not really demonstrating an understanding. Maybe you're writing about a similar issue or a similar text, but you're not really demonstrating an understanding of the text provided. A 0 then is when a response is totally incorrect or irrelevant. So you're not writing about the text at all, or you're not addressing the prompt at all. This type of response contains insufficient information to demonstrate comprehension. The Literary Analysis and Composition 2 CR rubric is designed to mimic the 3 main areas that they grade or that they look for on the Keystone exam questions. So when you have the grading for the rubric, it's pretty strict. It's all or nothing. You either get 10 points in each section or you get 0 points. There's no half credit on this type of assignment. So you're graded in writing skills. You should be able to demonstrate your ability to respond to a work of literature using conventional writing techniques. You should have an introductory statement. You should have transitional words. You should have a conclusion. You should have strong punctuation, grammar, and spelling. So it should contain little or no errors in these areas. For reading skills, the student must be able to demonstrate the ability to understand and analyze a passage by giving a clear, complete answer to all parts of the task. When using resources to support an answer, these resources come directly from the text that you're given. The student should demonstrate that he or she can identify and use relevant quotes from the passage to support his or her response to the task. These are your citations and your explanations. It's the bulk of your writing. Let's talk strategy, reading and writing strategies for the constructed response. Reading strategies, writing strategies. For reading skills, you want to read the CR question or prompt before reading the text. Read the text using reading strategies. Take notes, highlight important examples to use later in your written response. Here's my tip for you for life. Read the question first or read the prompt first. That way, as you're reading, you can act kind of like a detective. So you know what you're looking for as you're reading while you're reading. It will make using reading strategies much more beneficial. You're going to want to restate the prompt in your own words. So after you're done reading, when you're ready to start to answer the question, or even before you read, restate the prompt in a question that makes sense to you, kind of like repeating it back to yourself. So, what am I being asked to do? This is what I'm being asked to do. And then as you're reading, you can use your reading strategies to help you find that answer. And then when you sit down to actually write, then you can restate the prompt in your own words in a way that's going to build your introductory statement and help lead you to your answer. So your introductory statement, this is the first sentence in your constructed response. Here's some reading comprehension strategies that can help you along as you're reading. Reread the text. More information equals more understanding. So read through it once just to get a general idea. Think about the prompt, come up with an idea. Maybe read through again. This time take notes and highlight information you think can help you build your answer. Activate prior knowledge. Think about what you already know about this. Use context clues to help you understand words that you might not know. Infer meaning. Read between the lines. Make educated guesses and draw conclusions as you're reading. Think aloud. Talk through the text. Okay, the prompt is asking me to do this. This example kind of gives me this idea. Let me keep reading a little bit more to see if there are more examples to support the idea I've already started to come up with. You might want to summarize the story or the article in general. Character setting, what's the problem, what's the solution. If you can summarize it, you're going to hit the main idea and the key details. That's going to help refer you help you refer back to the prompt and what your answer should be. Locate keywords that are going to help you, make predictions, use word attack strategies. So again, working on your reading skills or your word skills, building vocabulary, break it down into prefix, root, and suffix if context clues, aren't helping for you. If you're not sure what a word means, try to break it down. Visualize what it is that you're reading about to help draw a picture in your mind. Use graphic organizers if it's helpful, and evaluate your understanding. Okay, what did I learn after I read this text? For writing skills, you want to write your CR in paragraph format. Proofread for errors in spelling and grammar. Use races to organize your thoughts. It's not required, but it's definitely a helpful way to build your outline or to build your ideas. So you don't have to turn it in. They're not looking for it on the keystone. They're looking for that paragraph, but it's definitely a technique that can help you as a pre-writing strategy. You might want to use a sentence stars graphic organizer or something I call the races paragraph, which I'll talk to you about in a few minutes. If you've got it, your writing skills are pretty strong, you know how to format the CR, then make sure you're polishing your writing. You want to proofread and edit to make sure that your response is clear and thorough. Practice sentence variety, word choice, and vocabulary usage. So if you're a little more of an advanced writer, definitely continue to polish your writing and build on your vocabulary skills. Support and answer. Cite examples from the text using quotation marks. You absolutely want to use quotation marks. If you don't, you're plagiarizing, and you never want to plagiarize. Clearly and thoroughly explain your examples. Answer the question, so what? Basically, why or how does the example that you chose support your answer? Here's the races graphic organizer that can be really helpful for you. Basically, the R is about restating. You want to restate the question or prompt. Do it in a way to not only check for your own understanding, but that's going to lead you into your introductory statement. That will take you into your answer, where you want to make sure you're answering all parts of the prompt completely. A lot of times the prompt is asking you to think about a couple of different things. So you're going to have a multi-layered answer. The C stands for citations. You want to have at least 2 or 3. The more text support you can find, the stronger your answer is going to be, the clearer your ideas are going to be developed. Explain why you chose each citation, how do they support your answer, and then finally you want to summarize what you wrote. So you want to conclude your writing in a way that's going to wrap it up nicely for your reader. So wrap up your answer, wrap up your examples in 1 to 2 sentence summary. If you don't like the races, if you find it challenging or difficult, or it's not a writing strategy that's working for you, try the races outline. Simply create headings: answer, citation number 1, explanation number 1, citation number 2, explanation number 2, and conclusion. If you build this outline, then you can go through and just plug in your answers. You can go and format it into paragraph format later, but at least this way you can make sure you've completed the structure of a well-written analytical essay. So your answer, you want to answer the question completely. Make sure that you hit all parts of the question or the prompt. For citation, you want to insert a direct quote. Make sure you're using quotation marks. You can copy and paste it right out of the text. And then explain why you picked that quote. Refer back to your answer. How does this quote get me that answer? You came up with your answer for somehow. Something in the text gave you that idea. That's where the citations come in. That's where you find an example that says, okay, this is why I'm right. Here's an example that shows why I'm right, and then explain to your reader how you made the connection between the text and your answer. Do it at least one more time with a second citation and a second explanation. Finally, you want to restate your answer and examples, wrap it all up really briefly and very quickly. Once you're done building the outline, once you have that completed, you want to turn your outline into a draft. And if you're having a hard time with transitions or writing really isn't a strong skill for you, feel free to try the RACES paragraph. Basically, once you have your answer, all of the following words here in red are sentence starters. They're transitional phrases that are going to help you move from outline to draft. So you have your answer. You'll say something like, an example that supports my answer is, insert that first citation. This example supports my answer because, insert your explanation for why you chose that quote. Another example that supports my answer is, insert your citation number 2. Copy and paste it. This example also supports my answer because, insert your explanation for why that citation helps support your answer. Finally, or in conclusion, you want to restate your answer and examples in a new way. You're basically repeating your answer and your explanations, but instead of copying and pasting parts of your answer or your quotes in the bottom, you're just going to kind of paraphrase and wrap it all up really quickly for your reader. If you have any questions, let me know, but this is the basic overview, structure, and format of a well-written constructed response.